Hello and welcome to the Holistic Success Show. My name is Dr. Robert Puff.
And I'm Elizabeth Lozana.
Today we're going to have a guest talk about chiropractic care, but a very unique form of care that can really change your life as it has with my co-host Elizabeth and helped her really deal with pain.
We're also going to be watching clips from Dr. Puff, who's going to talk to us about how to manage your money in a holistic way, as well as living a positive life.
And then we're going to have a question from you talking about how do you manage life when you're just feeling like you're catching up all the time.
And also we'll be answering a question, how to relax and how to unwind at the end of a stressful day. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Holistic Success Show. Have a wonderful week and we hope you enjoy the show.
I want to talk about how money fits into being a whole, healthy person, a successful person. I think a lot of times when we think of success, we think money, success. And that's actually not a very good analogy. Having money is part of life, it's important. And having enough to pay your bills is important. But it definitely isn't going to be the solution. I think for many, many people out there, I mean, it's amazing how many people think that if I have enough money, all my problems go away. And that just isn't true. I've been in private practice and working with very, very successful people. My office is in Newport Beach, it's right next to the harbor, so obviously I work with very, very successful people. And I've done a lot of speaking over the years and known, there's many, many people that have a lot of money. And there is just no correlation, and the research supports me on this, there's no correlation between money and happiness. It just doesn't relate. And if anything, having a lot of money can make your life complex, can make it complicated, and can just take you away from being happy because you have now all these things to manage. People are depending upon you, and it can actually add stress to your life. So now it is true, though. I don't want to discount that money matters, because it is true. If you don't have enough money, people suffer. But I think in the Western world, if you're watching it from a Western country, we equate having enough money as having a big home and our own cars and a lot of money in the bank. And most of the world does not live that way. I've traveled extensively around the world to very much countries that don't make what the Western world make, and yet they're very happy. They're very full. They're very, very content with their lives. They love their lives, and they have nothing. I mean, they live on a year what we may live on a day, and yet they make it, and yet they're happy. So how is that possible? How can you right now learn to have money be part of your health and yet be successful at the same time holistically? And it's really that. Make it part of who you are. Learn about money, educate yourself how to invest, improve yourself financially, try to make more money. But do it, I often use the analogy of doing it like the tortoise and the hare. It's like you can always get better and make more money if you move progressively forward. But I think what a lot of people do is they want to make money fast, they want to make it quickly, and so it's at the expense of everything, their relationships, their children, their health, and it just costs them too much. And that's where I think the negative effects of money kick in. You're willing to risk the whole pie to thinking this chunk is going to make that whole pie better, and it doesn't. I mean, they've even done studies on people that win a whole lot of money in the lotto, and what they found is we tend to have an internal set point for happiness. And let me explain what I mean by that. Is that inside of us there's a level at which we are at, whether I'm happy, I'm kind of medium, or I'm kind of depressed. And so that just stays where it's at for most of our life, unless we do work like we're doing on the show, changing ourselves. But if we don't change ourselves, if you win the lotto right now, if you leave here and you win the lotto, guess what? In about 6 months, obviously you're probably going to be here at first, but in 6 months, you're actually going to go back to the level of happiness or sadness you were at prior to winning the lotto. And studies really support that. But the reverse is true too. If you leave here right now and get in a car wreck, which would be very tragic, of course, but you break your back and you're in a wheelchair, within 6 months after that accident, even though at first you're going to be obviously very sad and depressed, you're going to go back to your level of happiness, wherever it would have been. So it just doesn't seem to have a lot to do with happiness money. But, it's important to learn about it, educate yourself. We're going to have guests on talking about how do you manage your money, how does it fit in the equation. It's an important part of it. And it's important to take time, a little bit of time on a regular basis to grow, to develop your skills in making money, to develop your skills in your job and get better at it, and investment, and making sure that that isn't necessarily like an irritant. I think not having enough money can be really annoying, can be rather upsetting. I think that's where people say, if I have money, all my problems go away. That isn't true, but not having enough money can be very upsetting. So I don't care if you're watching this the day I'm filming this, or you're watching this 10 years from now, there's always going to be people who are struggling financially, that have had some major loss. And perhaps, that's you right now. You've lost your job, you've lost your home, or you've lost something that really matters to you because of money. I think it's very important in that situation not to judge yourself. My favorite mantra or word phrase to say is, what can I learn from this? And right now, if you have lost your job, you say, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to change. When I've hit bumps in my life, I say, I need to learn something from this, and I always do. So if you're at one of those financial bumps, saying perhaps you need to take some more courses, perhaps you need to learn a new skill, perhaps it's God or the universe giving you an opportunity to change your life in a really wonderful way. I think having that attitude, putting money in perspective, really makes life go well. So it won't be the solution, because way too many people see it's a solution to all your problems. That doesn't work. I mean, until you meet people, as I have in-depthly met people, hundreds, if not, I'm sure thousands of people that are very wealthy, it doesn't solve your problems. And you can say, I'll do it differently, but it's not going to be different from you. You need to make sure the whole part of your life is whole. All of it is working together to be happy and successful emotionally inside. So work on all the parts of it, but money matters. And make sure you learn about money, develop yourself constantly growing in the ways of, managing your money well and making money well, and you'll find your life will go well. So peace.
And now it's time for our questions. So this week's first question comes to us from John C. from San Juan Capistrano, California. And John writes in, is it realistic to think that with all the day-to-day responsibilities that we put into motion over time, can we find that balance and not feel like we are constantly playing catch-up?
Excellent question, and difficult question that I'm sure many viewers out there can relate to. And to start off with, I want to talk about, really, to address this question, the two favorite letters of the alphabet I think that can really help with this, N and O. And what do I mean by that is why we feel like we're playing catch up all the time is that we put too many things on our plate. That plate gets higher, it gets higher, it gets higher, and then it crashes. And and you are playing catch up. So what you have to do is saying, okay, if I want to live a balanced life, I have to start off with saying what's important, what matters to me, and if you don't do that, it crashes, right? Yeah. And then you say, okay, well, this is important to me. Do you have time for that? Are you sleeping, right? Are you spending time with the people that you love? Are you enjoying your work, and then you have your kids, your friends. And then you add on all these other little things, like extra activities and committees, and you just get overwhelmed. So you have to get good at, and not everyone's going to like this, because if you're on a committee, if you need those members, you're not going to like me saying this. You have to get good at saying no to things and not always volunteering for everything and being involved with everything and taking everything on. It will overwhelm you, guaranteed. We can all of us have 24 hours of a day. If you're president of the United States or CEO of a company, we all have 24 hours. And the way we manage that is by not taking too much on our plate. And that's deciding, that's what this whole show is about, is what's important to you, what makes your life fly. And like taking care of yourself physically is a huge part of that pie. Because if your body aches, your life sucks. If you're not feeling well, it doesn't go well. So
what you need to prioritize on those days is finding ways for your body to feel better, even if that means you need to rest. And it might feel like you have to play catch up, but in reality, we can always be playing catch up. It's just you have to prioritize what's important and what really needs to get done.